All right, welcome back to the ALC Sidelines podcast right here on the ALC Sports Network. If you're watching on YouTube, we thank you. Like and subscribe to our great show and to our network. We also are on Instagram at Atlantic Lacrosse Conference and on X at Atlantic LC. Also on Spotify now, so watch out for that if you are on there getting your podcasts. We have a great show this week. We talk about an epic win for the Tennessee Volunteers as they got it done at home against James Madison just about a week ago of this recording. And, of course, we're looking ahead to some other games coming up that could decide who makes it to Lynchburg in April, the end of April. It is coming, folks. The ALC tournament is right around the corner. Right now, we are, only a few short weeks away. I think we're 6 or 7 weeks out before we crown champions and send somebody off to Round Rock with an automatic qualifier. So very, very exciting stuff going on this week. We're going to highlight some scores, and we're going to highlight some players of the month now as we get into it. Some scores from the last couple of weeks. James Madison got a big win over West Virginia on February 26th. That was a 13-3 win for the Dukes. However, they did play an epic game against Tennessee. Tennessee did get the better of them. They also got the better of NC State right before that. So Tennessee beating the Wolfpack, and then down 8-1 to James Madison. They storm back, win an epic overtime game, 16-15, and Tennessee is rolling right now, nationally ranked as well. So it's huge win for Tennessee going forward in the conference play. And in the Southern Division, they are right now going to be battling it out right now at the top with Virginia Tech. Liberty got a couple of really big wins nationally for them. They beat Georgia Tech, turned around the next day, and then beat Texas. So a couple of big wins for the Flames. They are traveling a little bit more, and then will come home, play a couple of games, and start that conference play back up later down the line. And how about Clemson? The Tigers have won 6 in a row, and the last 2 over Alabama and Missouri. Big game coming up, though. We'll get into that a little bit later. So congratulations to those teams on some epic wins. We do have some ALC players of the month. In Division 1, our offensive player of the month, Keaton Mose of Liberty, the attackman, leading point scorer in the ALC. He's also in the top 5 in the MCLA total, just a grand total of 32 points right now for Keaton. He's averaging 6.4 points per game so far this season. Our defensive player of the month is James Madison goaltender Aiden Miller. He has double-digit saves in 5 games this year and has kept the Dukes close in every single one of them. So congratulations to Aiden. Our offensive player of the month in Division 2 is Tyler Nichols from Charlotte, the attackman. He's leading the ALC in 6 points per game again, and he's top 10 as well in the MCLA in that category. And then our defensive player of the month is Jack Church, really good goaltender down in Winston-Salem for the Wake Forest Demon Deacons, almost 82% right now with a save percentage there, averaging 12 saves per game and giving up less than 3. That leads the ALC. It's going to be a lot of fun going forward down the second half of this stretch of the season. So remember, look out. Those are your players of the month for the month of March, and look out for the next one, the month of February. And look out for the next one coming up with our players of the month for March, which our next show will come out in early April. All right, now it is time to get into it. We are going to talk to a couple of great players. Mike Matarazzo, Max DeMella, and Mason Kane are joining us from the Tennessee Volunteers. Let's head on down to Knoxville and have some fun with the Vols. All right, here on the ALC Sidelines podcast, we have special guests. We have the Tennessee Volunteers lacrosse representatives. We have a couple of captains, a couple of all-stars, a couple of all-ALC players here. We have, from Tennessee, Michael Matarazzo. We have Mason Kane. And we have one of the best face-off guys in the country, Max DeMella, joining us as well. Gentlemen, welcome into the show. It's good to have you.
Yeah, thanks for having.
Thank you
Thanks
for
for
having
having.
us.
Excited.
Awesome. Well, you guys are having a great year so far. What we really were excited to talk to you guys about is Tennessee has just kind of been kind of in the background a little bit since coming over to the ALC. But last year, you guys completely came on the scene, get all the way to the ALC championship, uh, play in the MCLA tournament. It had been a long time since Tennessee had played in that. And just a really, I always described it watching you guys play as a physical brand, a hard-nosed brand. You guys just absolutely get after it. But you have talent on this team as well. So whoever wants to start, just talk about what this year has been like so far and what's led up to maybe taking stuff from last year and bringing it over to this year.
Yeah, I can start. Um, this year, I mean, since my freshman year, 3 years ago, we've kind of just been slowly building the program. Towards the end of freshman year, we kind of started to win a couple games. Sophomore year, we were in the mix, but we couldn't close out the tough games. And then junior year is when we really turned it on. Max showed up, and we started winning some face-offs, so that was big. And and after the loss in Texas, we just wanted to keep it rolling this year. And then this year we've played in some tough games. We've had some injuries early. We lost some of our top players, but we're still grinding. We still want to be in the mix just like last year, and we're hoping we can make a deep run in the ALCs and then hopefully make it to Texas again. But it's just been a building. It's been a journey for like 4 years. Yeah, as Mike just said, like a grind for the last 4 years to bring Tennessee lacrosse, I guess, back. I don't really know how it was ever
like relevant
before. Yeah,
Yeah.
relevant.
So are you all you guys seniors this year?
No,
I'm a sophomore.
yeah,
You're
no.
sophomore. Wow. Okay, Max. We got a long time with you. So that's one of the staples, really, has been you, Max, at the faceoff dot coming in last year, and I think that even in the ALC championship game, you can go back to that game. You were a problem for most people, and humble brag, I guess you could say with that, but where did you kind of get your lacrosse and face off pedigree from? What's your lacrosse journey and why did it end up at Tennessee?
So I started playing lacrosse back in second grade, and then I started facing off, I think around fifth or sixth grade. And then I'm from Maryland, so I faced off at Broadneck High School. And then I was applying to colleges. I didn't really want to go to like a D3 school or a D1 school. I couldn't really go to a D1 school, but I didn't want to go to a D3 school. Then I like heard about like club lacrosse and was like, that seems like it would be really fun. I get to go to a big SEC school and play lacrosse at the same time. I applied to here in Florida, and I visited here, and I met up with these guys in the first time I met them, and I loved it here instantly. I decided to come here.
Nice, that's awesome. That's a cool story. Just coming over. Was the attraction kind of like that big school feel? You're in the every other sport is the SEC. It's the biggest football conference and big basketball conference. Is that kind of the attraction on top of now? Hey, I get to play lacrosse too.
Yeah, that was definitely a big part of it.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Yeah, Mason, I'm sure too. And Mason, I know you answered the first question, but the same goes to you. I mean, you've been one of the top players in the league from last year, and you and your scoring buddy Logan Aiello, who I know is nursing a little bit of an injury right now, but you guys really came on strong and propelled an offense that again kind of came out of nowhere, right? And you had that big win over Virginia Tech. You're able to beat them and then win against West Virginia in the ALCs and propel yourself all the way to Texas. You mentioned the journey. What was it like when you first got here, and how much has it changed?
When I first got here, we were like a beer league team, and like I still talk to some of the guys when the seniors that were here when I was a freshman, like some of my best friends. I love them, but it was more of just like a kind of play lacrosse. Half the kids never showed up in the fall, and then come in the spring, play a couple of lacrosse games, and just have fun, pay dues or whatever. And then once they left, sophomore year was when we started with our president, Henry Gates. He really started it where we just wanted to be a little bit more, be taken a little bit more seriously. And then since then, it was great. But my freshman year wasn't, and Mike was here too. Mike transferred in late, so he came for only the spring. He missed the fall, but the fall was basically, it was almost like a middle school camp. I remember it was very unorganized. I just kept hearing that like we have some great players, but they don't show up in the fall. So I didn't even meet some of the players until the spring. It was an odd scene, but it built the program. So it made me love the lacrosse program here, and we just stuck with it. Thank God.
Yeah. Yeah. And Michael, same to you, Mike. I mean, you're from Jersey. You know, how did you end up down south at Tennessee, and then all of a sudden find yourself playing in a national tournament last year? If the situation was as precarious as Mason describes it as.
Yeah, so I went to Indiana like half of my freshman year, and then I transferred here because I had an older sibling who went here. So like I would visit her for a couple football games, and I like loved it here. And then I got in transferring, and then I knew they had a club team, but I didn't know like how it was. So like I went to a practice in the fall when I came here to visit for a game, and they looked all right. And then freshman year, like Mason was saying, was like it was just a grind, and then turned out to figure it out sophomore junior year.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, if it works out, it works out. It's amazing, you know, how things do. And, you know, you guys recently have played a couple of really tough games. You had to go down to Atlanta this past weekend, but one of the big games that we saw you guys playing was James Madison. You guys trailed big time in that game. How and where did you find the gumption to find the strength to be able to come back in that game and ultimately win it in an epic? I know it was a crazy physical end of the last 2 minutes and overtime. How did you guys find the way to win that game?
Want me to take that?
You got it.
Yeah, I mean, usually ever since I've been here, our 2 games per week the Sunday game is always the toughest because everyone's hurting from the Friday night game still, and then you come play the Sunday again. We played on a different field than we played on. We played on some garbage grass dirt field because we had some issues with our field that we couldn't get it booked or whatever. And then next thing you know, we show up Sunday and we're basically down 8-1 in the first quarter. And it was just kind of a mess to begin with. The offense couldn't get anything going. The defense was struggling a little bit. I think Max was even struggling a little bit. And then honestly, we started riding. Max started winning a lot of faceoffs. And then by the end of the second quarter, I'm pretty sure it was a 3-goal game. Like we were back in it. We knew we had a chance. And we were just working hard. Third quarter, fourth quarter at the end got a little chippy. We got a couple man up goals or stuff like that. And then we ended up just winning in overtime. Tommy Guys, the savior, who actually missed the game winner with 2 seconds left on the crease. He just dropped it. He was wide open. And thank God he got a second opportunity. So thank God we ended up winning that game. But JMU was a great team. Their defense was extremely solid. So credit to them too for also they played a back-to-back game. Basically, they played on Saturday and then Sunday, and then they gave us a battle. So credit to them.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I guess Knoxville is the land of second chances. Then, with Tommy over there, you know, talk about Tennessee culture. You guys seem like a fun-loving group of guys. You know, just hanging out, laxing it up. But you find yourself still in like national conversations now, and now people are taking you very seriously as a contender in the ALCs and a chance to maybe win it this year. You know, you mentioned it was a little bit of quote unquote beer league kind of way it used to be with the culture, and I'm sure you guys love to have fun. But what is the culture, especially? And I completely forgot to mention this. You guys have had 3 head coaches in 3 years, so you know there hasn't been a ton of continuity at the top. Now, granted, these guys, Tim McKinney, Mitch Langley, they've been there, right? But what has the culture been like in Knoxville for this lacrosse program?
You go next.
Me. So they came in when I came in. It was Coach Jake. I didn't have the original coach that they had, and I liked him as a coach. He was a great guy, and I got here, and everyone it's kind of like our team. We all know we can be like better and like one of the best teams to compete with anyone. So we're always just like pushing ourselves to like be better. Like in practice, we're competing, games we're competing. We always just want to be the best versions of ourselves, and our coaches like strive off that, and they help us. And when we're having a slow practice, or we're not playing how we should play, they let us know that. But at the end of the day, it's like we compete within each other to keep getting better and better, and that's how we're gonna keep continuing to get better.
Yeah.
I also think the team has gotten a lot closer from my first year. We were all friends, but we weren't that close. And then this year, I think the whole team is pretty tight. I think I speak for everyone where after a game, everyone hangs out together. You know, we're here right now, like we call it the Lacrosse house because we got 5, 6 lacrosse players that live in here. So everyone comes here after the games. And it's just like a tight unit where in the past, it really hasn't been that like bond or connection. So now on the field, we kind of just play as one cohesive unit, or we try to at least. But we're still working on it. But we're getting better.
Mike, what about you? What's the culture like in Tennessee?
As they say, I mean, it's super tight. Like every time, like after a game, everyone's always here. I mean, we all hang out with each other throughout the week. Practices are really tough. We all try and compete with each other. We all try to like beat on each other. And like if someone messes up, we're always picking each other up, or like we're telling somebody what to do better, but always in like a nice way. But yeah, I mean, it's changed a lot. So I mean, now we just want like a winning culture.
And the parents are actually pretty close now too. Like all the parents hang out together. Basically, my parents are best friends with like half the parents on the team, even more. The freshman parents. Now I'll talk to the other parents. We've got them involved also. So it's definitely just become one big group now instead of just like a little club program.
Yeah.
It's kind of like an organization, I would call it now.
Nice. That's and so important, right? Just to have that continuity, to have the backing, the resources, all those things. And I know not every MCLA program can have that level of that. So you guys have won quite a few games here right now, sitting at 6-2 as we record this podcast. Still with some big games left to go though, as we start to get deeper into conference play. So you got Clemson. You still got Michigan State on the schedule coming up in a couple weeks here, and then it's a couple big trips here. You got Liberty under the lights at midnight on ESPN, which should be really fun, and then Virginia Tech I'm sure is chomping at the bit to probably avenge some things from last year. What are you most looking forward to in the second half of the season?
Just competing with the big dogs now. Like the last stretch after spring break, we had a game. We were supposed to have a game this week, ended up getting canceled. So we have basically 15 days off to get the team healthy. I think everyone's been hurting a little bit. So everyone's going to go on spring break. And then after that, it's just the next 5 or 6 games that we have. It's basically all insanely competitive games. They're going to be great teams. And we just have to be 100% if we want to make a run and end up making it to Texas. And that first game against Clemson when we come back is really going to dictate the rest of the season for us. So we better be ready, and I think we will be. Once we just got to get a little healthy. Everyone needs a little bit of a break, I think. That's the biggest thing.
Wanna go?
Yeah, I'll go.
Yeah, I mean, I can't wait to compete. Playing Liberty under the lights, that's going to be fun. Can't wait to face off in that game. Same with Virginia Tech, Clemson. It's just going to be such a fun stretch, and as long as we're competing and playing how we know how to compete, I think we can compete with any of those teams that we're going to face, and I think they'll all be really good games.
Yeah, for those teams, we got to be like mentally and physically ready. Like now, we like can't afford another loss, so we got to take each game like it's like it's our last. So we just got to come ready for everything.
Let's talk about your positional groups. Mike, I know you play defensive midfielder. So that's very important position. Obviously, you're guarding some of the best middies in the country coming right at you. Talk about that group. Highlight some players for us so that we know like who are the big time deep holes and D mids coming in from Tennessee that are going to be protecting the goalkeeper here.
Yeah, we got for our LSMs, we got Logan Sims. He's on IR right now, and then we got Connor Sierra. He's one of our really good LSMs too. I run short 16 team midi with Dom. How do you say his last name?
I don't know.
No offense,
Dom
Dom.
B. Dom B.
It's Dom B. Okay.
So I ran with him my sophomore year, and it was his freshman year. We went to the ALC semis, and then last year I ran with Ashton. He was really good. Then he graduated. Then our second line is Spencer Day and either Max or Grant Gooch or Jesse Tobias. But I mean, we're all super close, tight group. We just love being gritty. It's a gritty position. So our job is basically to get the ball to this kid.
Mason, we're going to get to you. Don't worry. Well, you mentioned Max, and Max, I'll ask you. You're kind of rare because you do play a little bit of D mid as a faceoff. You're not just a normal Fogo, so it makes you a little bit more unique. But you've made such an impact for teams to watch out for and to scout and to have to game plan for you. Has there been a game in your 2 years so far or year and a half, I guess I should say, that has been the toughest challenge for you? Has there been a team that was difficult that you had to figure out? Like what's been your biggest challenge so far in your first year and a half?
I think earlier in the season, I struggled a little bit in the Florida game. I picked it up in the fourth quarter a little bit and got a little hot, but it was just too late by then. We couldn't recover in time. And then also last year in Texas, I struggled in the SDSU game and was never really able to get it on. But I'm hoping to see both those teams again later, hope maybe in Texas. And so we'll see what happens with that.
Well, when you're a face-off guy, I feel like you have to be. It's like being a baseball pitcher. You're a creature of habit, right? What do you get? What do you do? Before you go out there to just like get in the zone. What's your focus point?
So I'm kind of I feel like I'm a little bit weird about this. Like I feel like I face off better when I'm like a little bit tired. I don't overthink anything. I like if I like started the game, I overthinking everything. I go out there, who knows what happens. But then I play a D mid run, I get a little bit tired playing the game. And the next face off, I just go up there and I just do what I know how to do. And it seems to work better when I'm a little bit tired. So
okay, so no sleep for Max before any game ever.
exactly.
Run a couple laps before the game. Sure, fine, whatever works. But I mean, seriously, it's impressive. It's impressive, honestly, and we're looking forward to hopefully, when we do the broadcast in the ALC tournament again, and later on down the line in other games as well. Mason Kane, the guy who puts the ball in the back of the net. Now, I know that you have kind of taken on a little bit more of a responsibility with that, with Logan not being out there with you, but. Talk about some of your other guys. I know that you have some guys. I was watching the game the other day. That little guy, number 3, Tommy, is that it?
Yeah.
Holy cow! I mean, he's like a spark plug. That guy. So he's excellent. And you mentioned Tommy guys as well. Just talk about that offense and what they bring to the table.
Our starting 6 is the most legit it's ever been. As you said, Tommy Rudo, number 3, the little guy. Crazy on the run shot, lefty, righty, takes a beating out there, but he works hard. Let's see, Gavin Burke, transfer from
Drexel.
He came from Drexel, right? Number 51. He's killer inside shot, shifty, super shifty in practice. Kind of makes some kids, well, it makes some of the D-middies, a little upset. Mike over here, Gav's got a crazy shift to him. JD Schellenberger was our other. He got injured. He broke his collarbone in, I think it was the NC State game. So now he's out the rest of the year. Who's the why am I blanking on the third midi?
Tommy Trudeau and
Oh, Tommy Guys, 15.
There you go. The hero.
Yeah, he's great. He's New York boy, one of my guys,
Yeah.
and I love him. He's inside shot, outside shot, bar down, anything you could think of. He's got an insane shot. Um, Same thing with Jake Schroll. He's our righty attackman, can shoot it from anywhere. He'll get it going in the middle of the season is usually when he gets it going. Towards that ALC tournament is when you'll see him. He'll have like 5 goals where you're like, how did he just do that? He has like a shot that should be like NCAA D1. And then now we're missing the big lefty, Logan Ayala, our like commander on offense basically. He tore his ACL, so he's done. So now we have a rookie named Sullivan Clark, a lefty, little guy also, who's stepped up since Logan. And he's a midi that is one of our only lefties. So now he's playing starting attack, and it's a tough role to step in as a freshman. Like I remember when I was a freshman, I would step on the field. It's like the nerves just get to you, but he's handling it pretty well. And we all have a lot of work to do to become a better offense, but it's going to start clicking more. We've had a great offensive season so far, but we'll keep rolling. Sully's going to get a ton of more confidence in that lefty position, and we're going to find a way to beat these big guys in the end.
A two-part question here for you specifically. What is your role now in the offense, and what is your superpower on offense?
I mean, I think my role is kind of like just the chief out there, just kind of directing people where to go, what set to be in, stuff like that. I usually just ask the guys what they want to run, but I think I'm the most vocal on the field when that happens. So I'll kind of command it from there. I usually play closer in the crease. I'm not really an outside guy. I've never been. So I'm always in the middle, always in the mix. And that's basically my role. I've definitely taken a step back on scoring and the points this year, but just more of, I think our offense is so good that one or two people don't have to do as many things as we might have had to do last year. Every midi is scoring 3 goals a game, basically. Like the stats from this week show, I think all 3 of the starting middies had a hat trick in Georgia Tech. So it is kind of nice just to like let them dodge down the alley and shoot it. But my superpower, I think everyone would kind of agree on the team, kind of when we need like a ground ball or something like that.
Yes.
I'm just usually in the right spot at the right time, I would say. I don't think I do anything special compared to anybody else. I might get a little lucky. Maybe I know where to place myself a little bit, but definitely on the ground balls and the riding, I think is my strong suit compared to where most of the other offensive guys are scoring. I do a little bit of the dirty work. So I think that helps our team a lot. Juices them up a little bit. I know the bench loves it.
Yeah.
I think you just answered that the way every lacrosse coach would ever want their player to answer that question. Ground ball and ride. That's fantastic. This is awesome, guys. It's been great. We're going to do one more segment, okay? The last time that Tennessee won a conference title was 25 years ago, in the year 2000. I'm sure none of you were born. So we decided here at the ALC Sidelines podcast is to give you a little trivia test on some things about the year 2000 that happened. Some of it's pop culture, some of it's sports. We're going to see how much you guys can know a little bit, and we'll let all 3 of you guys give guesses on each of them. So are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Number one.
This video game console was launched 25 years ago this month. What was it?
The Xbox?
No.
No. I remember my buddy had it.
No, maybe like the GameCube.
I was gonna say
or
a Game Boy or
like
something.
Nintendo 360. Isn't that something?
Or it could be like a DS.
Oh, the DS.
No, that's
a little later on.
I might be the GameCube. Maybe I remember. Playing
You're kind of close. Kind of close.
PlayStation 2.
PlayStation 2.
Sorry.
Yeah,
We said Xbox.
I mean, the same thing.
Xbox was close. That's close. PlayStation 2 came out in the year 2000. Next one. What was the number 1 TV show in America in the year 2000?
Friends, maybe. Seinfeld, Friends.
Close. Seinfeld was off the air by then, but that's okay. Any other guesses?
The Office.
I don't know about The Office.
Yeah,
I think
that
that
was
was
probably later.
yeah.
Uh,
Close to Friends. What's
I guess not close to Friends, but that's in that wheelhouse. But it was a reality TV show.
Kardashians? Maybe.
Try Survivor.
Oh, I got that.
Which debuted that year, by the way.
That's still going on, I think, too. Right?
That's still going on. Yep, still going on. What was the highest grossing film in America in the year 2000? And I'll give you a hint on this one. It was a Christmas movie.
We're gonna go. It could be.
I don't watch movies really.
Could it be the Grinch?
I don't know.
It's gotta be right.
No, I feel like the Grinch is a lot later.
Name the Polar Express.
Any guesses?
When the Polar Express went out.
No, I
I,
can't.
I think it's gotta be the Grinch.
That's because Max is right on target. The Grinch Stole Christmas with Jim Carrey was the one. Got it. Excellent. All right. I was getting nervous. Nobody was going to get one right. Okay. Fantastic. We got one. This is great. All right. Here we go. Well, let's do some sports ones. Here we go. You ready? Who won for March Madness? Here we go. And it's conference championship week as we're taping this. Who won the SEC championship in basketball in the year 2000?
I mean, the SEC in 2000, I don't think was great.
I have no idea.
Yeah, maybe like Florida, I would say. My guess.
Florida?
My guess is Florida.
Your guess is Florida? Mike doesn't seem to agree.
I don't know.
I'll just go with Alabama, I guess.
Alabama. Arkansas. Arkansas beat Auburn in the 2000 SEC championship. So back in the day, Nolan Richardson back in the day. Look him up. Here's another one. This is a good one. You might know this. The first Super Bowl that was ever played in the new millennium came down to one final yard where blank team held blank team and the last seconds at the 1 yard line. Who were the two teams?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Pittsburgh. I think it's one of the teams Pittsburgh or no?
Did the Packers what?
No, was it Packers then?
Packers didn't play.
Shoot.
Browns.
I should name all
No.
No.
that.
No, wait. I gotta think about that.
Jets. We were 2 years after.
I swear they were 2000.
Baltimore Colts.
What do we got?
We'll go the Patriots versus
Were they even a team?
and so give me an NFC team. A good NFC team. Wasn't it?
2000. It wasn't your Cowboys. I'll tell you that.
Was not the Cowboys. I'll give you the answer here. You ready?
Yeah, let's hear it.
The Rams
Okay.
held on and held the Titans at the 1 yard line.
Okay.
Tennessee. Come
None of
on.
us are from Tennessee.
Yeah.
I guess we'll never would have known that.
So that's an obscure one, right? The greatest show on turf. If you're all looking in there. All right, last one, and again, this is going to test your. This will be a football knowledge, but it has to do with the University of Tennessee as well. This Hall of Fame tight end played defensive line for the 2000 Tennessee Volunteers. Hall of Fame tight end that played defensive line for the 2000 Tennessee Volunteers.
I don't know if he played the end. I don't know.
Who else is a tight end that we had?
From 2000.
2000 tight end.
It's gotta be just.
It's too old. That's
too-
too old.
too old.
I mean, but I don't know. Just go with it. Just say it.
So
I don't know. Jason Wynn.
That is correct, Jason Witten.
We're back.
Jason Witten played defensive line for the Tennessee Volunteers in the year 2000.
Nice.
Pretty good. Pretty good. All right, so 2 out of 6 for a couple of guys that were not born yet. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Guys, we appreciate it so much. Really, we do. Tell all the boys back in Knoxville we said what's up, and hopefully they'll listen in. How can we help? Like, where can we go? How can we help the Tennessee Volunteers program? Donations, anything like that? What can we do?
Honestly, you could follow us on Instagram. From our Instagram, we have the link to our website, which is we just got it up and running this year, so it's about 90% complete, but it does have a donation link that you can donate as much money as you can afford to Tennessee Lacrosse, because we need it. One thing, I don't know how all these teams travel cross country in the middle of the year. I don't know where they get the money from, because we can't afford that. So we're still working on the budget issue. That's our issue.
We'll have to call Jason Witten.
See if we can get him to donate.
Yeah, hopefully.
That would be big. All right, guys. Well, thanks for joining us. Thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you later down the line, hopefully in Lynchburg in late April. It'll be fun.
Yeah. Yep. Thanks, Dan.
Thank
Thanks
you
for
so
having
much.
us. Appreciate it.
All right, a special thanks to the Volunteers of Tennessee, Mike Matarazzo, Max Namella, and Mason Kane for joining us here. The Tennessee has got a couple of big games coming down the stretch of the regular season, and we're going to get into some of those games that we want to highlight in the month of March. So here we go. Big one on March 14th. It's Friday coming up. Pitt, undefeated still, at James Madison, who's looking to coming off a couple of losses here. They want to get some wins under their belt as well, give themselves a shot at the ALC tournament coming on later. Pitt, massive game for them. If they win this game, man, I think a lot of people are going to start taking them seriously. Charlotte is at Florida Atlantic. This is a massive game for Charlotte nationally right now. That's a Friday on March 21st. Also on Friday, March 21st, big one in conference, Coastal Carolina at UNCW. That could be a game that really decides a lot of things going on at the Division II and who is going to go to Lynchburg later on. We mentioned Clemson had a couple of big games. They play their next game at Tennessee, March 28th. Is a massive, massive game for Clemson. I know they really want to go as well to the ALC tournament. This would be a big stepping stone for them to get there. Another big impact is March 29th. This is Saturday. Wake Forest is going to travel to Virginia Tech to take on the Hokies Division II team. Again, huge matchup implications there. And then later down the line, Sunday, March 30th, Charlotte at Coastal Carolina. We've seen this dance before in the ALC tournament. These two teams like to match up and do battle. Can Coastal finally get the best of Charlotte? And then how about a little Tar Heel versus Wolfpack rivalry here in the Tar Heel State? UNC and NC State, the in-state rivalry, is back, and it's ALC style. That'll be Sunday, March 30th. That'll be a good one and a lot of fun between those two, getting the rivalry going again here in this lacrosse world. By the way, just in case you're aware, the ALC tournament has play-in games. That's the weekend of April 19th and 20th. We'll see the 2 seeds and 3 seeds kind of go at it, or the play-in games go at it to see who ends up in the semifinals taking on the number 1 seeds in each division. So again, number 1 seeds in the South, number 1 seeds in the North. You get a bye, you go straight to Lynchburg. The 2 and 3 seeds, they got to play playing games. So that'll be the weekend of April 19th and 20th. And then we will see you at Lynchburg City Stadium in Lynchburg, Virginia. April 26th for the semifinals, April 27th for the finals of the Division I and Division II Atlantic Lacrosse Conference Championships. It's going to be so much fun. There's going to be so many vendors and sponsors and all different kinds of events that we got going on. It's always a good time down at City Stadium. They've been so good to this conference for the last few years, and I'm sure it's going to be an epic event again this year in 2025. We will see you there. Again, it's on the line, automatic qualifiers to go to the MCLA National Tournament in Round Rock, Texas. The winners of those tournaments get those automatic bids and get to go down to fight for a national title. So that's going to be really, really fun. Again, if you are listening on our YouTube, please, we thank you so much, and like and hit that subscribe button as well. And again, on Instagram, at Atlantic Lacrosse Conference, and on X, at Atlantic LC. We bid you adieu and a fond farewell, and we will see you in April for another edition of the ALC Sidelines podcast.